Hey, do you want to get paid or not?
All right, elbows up.
Elbows up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pleb is back in this report. After telling the United States yesterday that our relationship with them is over, it appears that Mark Carney and Trump had a phone call this morning where now Trump is coming out and saying nice things about Mark Carney and stop referring to the Prime Minister as the Governor of Canada. Also tonight, Pierre Poilievre's rally in Surrey, BC last night broke records and was so big that it has the left losing their minds. And in our last story of the night, Stoner Guy is back on the show and goes absolutely nuclear on Mike Myers and all the elbows up idiots in Canada. You won't want to miss this report. Stick around. Welcome to your Friday report. If you guys aren't subscribed already, please smash the subscribe button because on this channel, I will give you all the updates on the election here in Canada. Today's episode has been brought to you by our friends over at Polymarket, and we will get into today's odds. But before we do that, we got to talk about Mark Carney, who got in front of the press yesterday and announced that Canada's relationship with the United States is over.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over.
Crazy. I don't know about you guys, but watching the Liberals purposely try to destroy our relationship with the United States because it's helping them in the polls is reckless and it's stupid. But thankfully, Mark Carney got on the phone with President Trump this morning, and this is what President Trump had to say about their call. Shout out to the Mark Carney parody account, who said that Donald Trump and I get along very well. But this is what was said in the phone call. I just finished speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada. He's not calling him the governor anymore. It was an extremely productive call. We agree on many things and will be meeting immediately after Canada's upcoming election to work on elements of politics, business, and all other factors that will end up being great for both the United States of America and Canada. Thank you for your attention to this matter. But you guys notice this here in this message where Trump says, we agree on many things. What do they agree on? I really want to know. Quite the change in tone from the Governor Trudeau tweets, and it sounds to me like President Trump wants Mark Carney to win this election. And in my opinion, it's because it's going to make Canada weaker, and Canada will be easier to walk all over with Mark Carney as the Prime Minister. And Mark Carney had this to say as he put out this statement this morning from the Honorable Mark Carney. Today, the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, spoke with the President of the United States, Donald Trump. The Prime Minister and the President had a very constructive conversation about the relationship between our two countries. The leaders agreed to begin comprehensive negotiations about new economic and security relationship immediately following the election. In the interim, the leaders agreed that conversations between the Minister of International Trade and Intergovernmental Affairs and President of the King's Privy Council for Canada, Dominic LeBlanc, and the United States Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, will intensify to address immediate concerns. The Prime Minister told the President that he would be working hard for the next month to earn the right to represent Canada in those discussions. The Prime Minister informed the President that his government will implement retaliatory tariffs to protect Canadian workers and our economy following the announcement of additional U.S. trade actions on April 2nd. Well, folks, it is official. It looks like Mark Carney has finally put his elbows down. And I gotta say, I'm happy that Canada and the United States are finally talking to each other. And in true Trump fashion, he had a comment today about his call with Mark Carney. He's not calling Mark Carney the governor of Canada anymore. He's just calling him Mark. Look at this.
Large-scale tariffs. Will you be following through with that promise?
Well, absolutely, but we had a very good conversation. Mark called me today at 10 o'clock.
Not Prime Minister Carney. Not even Mr. Carney, just Mark. Mark
Called me today at 10 o'clock.
So they're like on a first name basis now, or is that just disrespecting the office? I'm not exactly sure. Tell me in the comments. And Trump also had this to say about his conversation with Mark.
We had a very good conversation. Mark called me today at 10 o'clock. We put out a statement. We had a very, very good talk. He's going through an election now, and we'll see what happens. But we have Liberation Day, as you know, on April 2nd, and I'm not referring to Canada, but many countries have taken advantage of us, the likes of which nobody even thought was possible for many, many decades, And, that has to stop. We're going to end up with a very good relationship with Canada and a lot of the other countries. Some we probably won't. It won't be so pleasant. But I think most countries are agreeing with me. Many of them have actually apologized. They said, look, we have taken advantage. And I don't blame them as much as I blame the people that stood, in this case I can say the men, because so far they've been all men, haven't they? But the men that sat right there and behind the Resolute desk, mostly the Resolute desk.
And I don't know if you guys noticed what Trump said there, but he said that Canada and the United States are going to have a good relationship going forward. He wasn't sure about his relationship with other countries, but thankfully, Canada and the United States appear to be fixing this mess. And this conversation between Trump and Mark Carney is having an effect here on the poly market odds, as yesterday Pierre Poilievre was at 43% on poly market and now down to 40%. So I guess no matter which way they want to spin it on the left, maybe they think that Mark Carney's the right guy to deal with Trump, or he can handle Trump. Well, apparently the market thinks so, because Pierre Poilievre is down 3% on poly market since Trump and Carney had this call this morning. And yesterday on X, Elon Musk actually came in and offered his opinion as what's happening in Canada and why is Mark Carney up on poly market, as Ian Miles Chong posted this here. Are Canadians really serious about having someone who's even worse than Trudeau? The poly market odds are all over X, by the way, which Elon Musk responds regarding Mark Carney's poly market odds and says, unfortunately, propaganda works. And he's right. The polls coming out in Canada are definitely affecting the poly market odds. I mean, this is par for the course. But if I can give you guys any hope, let's bring things back to November. This was the chart for Kamala Harris and Trump here. And right now in Canada, we're currently in this section of the chart where things are going back and forth. And Canada, let me tell you this, buckle up, because this next 30 days is going to be the craziest ride of all time. Do not let them demoralize you. Do not lose hope. Just keep the faith and stop losing your minds over the odds, as things are going to fluctuate over the next coming weeks. And one of the reasons that I'm keeping faith here and not losing my mind at the polls or the odds being affected by the polls is the fact that I have two eyes. And last night in Surrey, British Columbia, Pierre Poilievre had to change venues early in the week because of overwhelming demand. And well, last night in Surrey, BC, had 5,500 people show up to his rally, which is a record in the history of Canadian politics. Just look at this crowd size. I mean, this is why I ain't stressing. Look. You're telling me the Liberals are winning? Look at this crowd. Incredible, man. And you know the crowd was a big one, and it triggered the left here as Gator Gum puts this out saying, even if Poilievre's rally crowds are bullshit, the only people fooled by this bullshit are the intentionally so and perpetuating it. Sorry for my English. Rally size bluster? What page of Trump's politics, huh? What page? Trump. I'll tell you this. You can fake the polls here in Canada by calling the right people. But you guys want to know what you can't fake? Crowd sizes that big. And this is why the leftists are triggered over what they saw last night. And that room last night was so packed that they literally had people standing in the rafters above. You thought the bottom was full. There's people in the rafters as well. This was the biggest political rally in Canadian history. So yeah, don't believe the polls. F the polls. I know what I'm seeing here. I have two eyes. And Pierre Poilievre is going to win. Just look at these pictures of the crowd last night. See, look how packed the rafters were above. You guys saw footage on the floor. The rafters were packed as well, man. Yeah, it's insane. Look at this. You can see the rafters packed all the way up here. You can see this crowd. This is the craziest freaking rally I've ever seen. I've never seen something this big in the history of this channel. And you're telling me Pierre Poilievre is going to lose? Look at the size of this crowd. Look how many people are showing up. This is a liberal riding, a liberal area. And Pierre Poilievre's hosting the biggest political rally in Canadian history. And you're telling me this guy is going to lose? Are you kidding me? I'm not buying it for 1 minute. Hold the line, guys. Hold the line. 30 more days of the most crazy psyop ever they threw at us. But when I see pictures like this, I know what's going to happen. And Pierre Poilievre's going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. And this historic rally had many special moments, but I think my favorite part of the rally was when Pierre Poilievre brought this little boy on stage who wants to be a future cop in Canada. Look at this. It's going to warm your heart.
Maxime, good to meet you. So are you the sheriff around here? Do I have a parking ticket? You're keeping law and order around here? Have you caught any bad guys? Not yet. He's looking out. If there are any bad guys out there, Maxime's coming to get you, okay? Way to go. Are you ready? Look over that way. Are you ready to stop the crime? And when you grow up, you want to own your own house? Do you think we should put Canada first? Way to go, buddy.
How sweet. I absolutely love it. That kid will never forget that moment for the rest of his life. And after this rally, Canadians, especially young Canadians, lined up outside the venue to meet Canada's next Prime Minister. And Pierre Poilievre took the time to say hi to everyone.
Thank you. Right on, Mark.
Wow.
Thanks so much, Pierre. Hey, we're praying for you, man.
Good luck.
Keep the bicycle. Thank you. Prime Minister! You sign. Thank you so much.
We're praying for you to win.
Yes.
guys. Don't push me in, guys. Thank you, Pierre. Bring it home, please.
The people's prime minister right here, folks.
Thank you so much. Great to see you guys. God love you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Save our country, man. Thank you. Thank you. Much love. Thank you. I trust you, Mr. Poilievre. Thank you. I trust you. Thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Take party down. Thank you for
Thank you for being part of this. I'm glad I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
God bless your family. I do door knocking every day.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Well, RG say every day.
Appreciate
Day and night.
Thank you. God love you.
I'm adopted just like you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Latina. And she's Latina like Anna. Take a quick photo.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. God love you. Thank you.
You think people are lining up to take pictures and mob Mark Carney like this? Are you kidding me?
Thank you. God love you very much. Oh, God. Guys. Love you guys. Thank you. You're my idol. Right on, dude.
Wow. The dude's a rock star. When I see videos like this, it just baffles me that Mark Carney is in the lead in the polls and on Polymarket, because the real Canada is showing up to support Pierre Poilievre. The working class, the heart of this country, are all voting conservatives. And even people who are not political are starting to notice and starting to support Pierre Poilievre. Like this automotive YouTuber, I dug this up on social media yesterday. This guy has 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's an automotive channel. And he put out this video on X describing how the Liberals for the last 10 years have completely destroyed his community with their policies, and Oakville, where he lives, is not even recognizable anymore. Watch this.
Let me introduce you all to Anita Anand. In 4 years that I've lived in Oakville, it was a safe community for families and children. She's turned it, with her Liberal government, into the #1 target for these criminals to come to break into our homes, steal our vehicles, and put guns to our children's head. I have so many people in the Oakville community. They send me videos. They've literally boarded up their doors with wooden planks because nobody feels safe in this community. We even had a safety community meeting. She didn't show up. She didn't want to show up. She has done nothing to speak to the Oakville community and the crime that we're facing, and they ignored all of the crime in the Liberal English debate.
And also about Anita Anand, she was one of the Liberals who dropped out, who was no longer running for re-election when the polling numbers were bad. And once Mark Carney came and the polls started turning around, Anita Anand is back. A real rat.
And by the way, she resigned 2 months ago.
Exactly.
She said she wasn't going to do this anymore.
Exactly.
She only came back because the polls switched in her favor.
Exactly.
She is not here for the best interests of Canadians. She's not. She is here to get power. That's it. As soon as the polls flipped, she changed her mind. Yeah, no, I'm going to run. I'm going to run. But before that, she was going to leave. She's not here for us. She's here for herself.
Bro, he gets it. He gets it. Normal people who don't follow politics are noticing the mess that the Liberals have put us through. And this is why I think that Pierre Poilievre rallies are breaking records. We're seeing rallies the sizes we've never seen before in Canada. And this is why people want change. And thankfully, the normies who are not really usually covering politics like this guy is stepping up, because he wants change in Canada too. kudos to him. And in our last clip of the night, we got Stoner Guy back on the show to give us a rift about Mike Myers selling his soul to the Liberal Party and putting his elbows up. I haven't even watched the video yet, but it's Stoner Guy, so I know it's going to be gold. So let's go watch this for the first time together.
Bullies. This is what I can't stand in the world. And we're the country that stands up to bullies.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Not sure where you've been for the last little while, Mike, but Canada probably isn't the same country it was when you left. See, for the past few years, we've had governments that did nothing but bully Canadians. There's a lot that's changed. I wish I could do an Austin Powers impression, because I'd start with we brought segregation back, baby. Yeah. I want my baby back, baby back. But anyway, our governments, they shut down small businesses. They locked people in their homes. They told people what they were allowed to buy and who they could buy it from. The government and the media launched an all-out campaign of harassment and intimidation against the people who didn't want to get the vaccine or dared even question the risks of getting a vaccine that didn't stop transmission or infection and wasn't fully tested. Teenagers were arrested for going outside and skateboarding and for playing the very sport you and your puck buddy Mark are playing. They arrested people for going to church. They elbowed up and arrested a pregnant woman because she tried to go into a public arena without her papers. An 80-something-year-old woman was left on the side of the tracks at an abandoned train station at 6 o'clock in the morning because she forgot her phone, which had her vaccine passport, and a million other stories of people being bullied. And when those million other stories, they got together and turned to their federal government to protect their rights, our former prime minister, a man with a long and sordid history of using his position and power to intimidate and bully others, he went on French television and threatened those Canadians, questioned whether or not their existence should even be tolerated in this country. And then they were smeared as being racists and misogynists and Nazis and just everything. And then the government later had many of those Canadians gassed and beaten. And then some, without any criminal charge or due process, had their bank accounts frozen, leaving a lot of them destitute. See, Mike, Canada used to be the country that stood up to bullies. Now we elect them. Liberals aren't the good guys, Mike. Elbows up is synonymous with fighting dirty. It's why it's such an apt slogan for the Liberals. They've been doing it for 9 years.
Wow.
Just ask Ruth Ellen Brousseau. And since you're an American, it's forgivable if you don't understand that reference.
All right, folks, that is it for today's episode. But I want you guys to tell me in the comments down below, do you believe the polls? Do you believe the odds when we see these record-breaking crowds for Pierre Poilievre in these traditional liberal areas? Are you buying what the media is selling right now? I want to hear your feedback regarding Pierre's crowds in the comments down below. And if you guys want to support my channel, you already know how to do it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, buy a membership. My name is The Pleb. I'll see you guys at the next report, probably tomorrow. Peace.